So, Steven Universe premiered 10 years ago. I'm too old for this.
This is life for you now. Endless suffering!
It goes without saying that Steven Universe is one of the most influential animated series of the last decade. The approach to storytelling and characterization heavily shaped the way cartoons are written today. And of course, the colors and style of Steven Universe influence many artists and people working in the industry even today. I mean, do you guys remember how this image made the rounds back then? It still haunts me. Of course, I am not exempt from that. Yeah, I'm a fan of SU. How could you tell? And of course, the gay stuff. I mean, whenever I look back at scenes from this show, I'm always like, is that allowed? Can they show that? How were they able to get away with that? And I just love the show for this. I can confidently say, this cartoon about gay stones has helped shape me into the person I am today. Also, my love for pastel-colored shows where shit can get real, as I like to call them, directly stems from my infatuation with SU. Now, I started watching Steven Universe after it exploded in popularity around the time when the season 1 finale aired. Don't worry, I'll get into this later, in March of 2015. Needless to say, I was curious what all this fuss was about. Over the next couple of weeks, I binged the show, and what started as an enjoyable viewing experience quickly turned into a lifelong obsession with lasting effects. From then on, I was hooked. Almost never missed the premiere of a new episode, which would typically be in the middle of the night in my time zone. Looked at every leak before the airing of new content, drew fan art, listened to the songs, as well as read/speculated about the hottest new fan theories that dropped. I basically became a geologist without even going to college. Hey, it was stones for breakfast, stones for dinner, and even stones for your midnight snack you seek out to get in the middle of a night where only the moon and stars can judge you for your sins. Where was I again? Oh right, Steven Universe. Now, the fandom actually has quite the reputation, and more often than not has a place in discussions about toxic communities. And yeah, sure, every fandom unfortunately has its fair share of bad apples. But some SU fans seem to be extra intolerable and hateful back in the day. Which is kind of ironic if you know what the show is actually about. Now, I do want this video to focus on the more lighthearted and maybe even funny things that happened during the run of the show, since these are the things I associate with SU. But I still found it important to mention that there was also some not so nice things that happened back then. Nevertheless, I still hope you guys are able to enjoy this video and even remember some of the events I'm going to talk about. So without further ado, let's go back down memory lane and take a look back at the wild years of the Steven Universe fandom.
Prepare to be annoyed!
Steven Universe leaks were basically impossible to avoid while the show was airing. Be it screen caps, snippets, or even full episodes. Yes, this happened many times. Your feed was inevitably flooded with spoilers whether you wanted or not. One that sticks out to me especially was the legendary LOL which main character died image that made its rounds in February of 2017. It shows a supposed unfinished scene from the show, where Steven can be seen holding another character who, according to the caption, just died. This mysterious second person is covered by an emoji in order to conceal their identity. Now I remember when all of this happened, I was really intrigued by the supposed leak. Fake leaks happened all of the time, including some that were very convincing. So this one surely was just another Photoshop job, right? What made me think there could be a chance that this was the real deal was that the art style was very convincing, if you had ever seen other storyboards from the show. It was also quite unusual to have a leak from this early into the production process, as whenever a spoiler of this gratitude happened, it was usually from a finished episode that had yet to be aired. The fandom was torn between whether or not to believe the leak. But this didn't stop us from coming up with theories about not only who this mysterious character was, but also what could have led up to their death. Now there were two clues that stuck out to the fandom. Number one, although the character was mostly covered by the emoji, you can just barely see a little tuft of hair sticking out at the top. Number two, the caption reads, which main character dies. Which means it had to be someone who we not only already had to be familiar with, but also a character who must have a significant enough role in the show to be considered a main character. There were many potential candidates the fandom considered as to being the mysterious figure, including Lars, Pearl, and even Sapphire. And while the latter two were considered to fit the description, Lars, while matching the hairstyle from the leak the most, divided fans because they were not sure whether he could be considered a main character or not. The possibility of the mysterious figure being Lars became more likely after the titles for new episodes were made public, and this painted a clearer picture. Lars was also on the ship that would bring Steven to Homeworld for the very first time. But that's not all. One of the new episodes was going to be called Lars's Head, furthering the evidence we had that the person in the leak could be him. Now around this time, some new evidence also came to light that would totally change everything. Quote, "We finally know who leaked it, and you will not freaking believe it. Zach Callison, voice of Steven, is the one who posted this. It was on his Snapchat, Instagram, and Twitter back in early February, but has been deleted since then. We still don't know if Lars is actually dead. The art is real, but the caption could easily be a joke. This is most likely a screenshot from the animatic during the voice acting stage of the episode's development, which I think is a little under halfway through production. Whether or not Zach actually had permission to post this or not is unclear. If he did not, however, it would have been a serious risk to his job." That's right, not only was the leak real, not only did it come from somebody working on the show, the leak came from none other than Mr. Steven Cutie Pie DeMayo Universe himself, the main character's voice actor Zach Callison. Needless to say, everyone in the fandom collectively lost their minds. This confirmed that the leak was in fact real. You just can't make this stuff up. A few months after all this went down, new episodes which contained the scene from the leaked storyboard would air, and it turned out that the mysterious character was in fact Lars Barriga. And although he really did die, my man was brought back from the dead pretty much immediately by Steven after the previously leaked death scene went down. And Lars even ended up with some cool lion powers following the whole ordeal. Definitely one of my favorite fandom moments from back in the day. Now, although Steven Universe has many incredible, progressive, as well as heartfelt episodes, it sure isn't perfect. There are a handful of instances where the show arguably missed the mark and left viewers feeling unsatisfied by the end. The most hated episodes also, funnily enough, almost always happen to feature the show's most hated character, Ronaldo. Now he is considered by most to be a very obnoxious and unfunny part of SU, who only causes trouble by being, well, annoying.
Steven!
You see, he's deep into conspiracies, aliens, and everything otherworldly. And he sure loves to let everyone around him know about his wild beliefs. Also, Ronaldo thinks of himself as some kind of genius or hero. And although luckily he isn't the focus of too many episodes, the ones he is in always tend to be dragged down by his presence. The episode Rocknaldo, which aired on February 24th of 2017, is no exception. Many fans consider it one of, if not the worst episode of the show. Ronaldo's aforementioned notorious traits are at their unfortunate peak during these 11 minutes. And all in all, it just makes for a lackluster watch. But the one thing that makes this episode the absolute worst was, funnily enough, the marketing leading up to the premiere. You see, new characters, especially new gems, were always a big event within the fandom. Just remember the introduction of Lapis, the Ruby Squad, or even Aquamarine and Topaz. God, Peridot was so cool too! We were always in for a good time and great episodes whenever a new gem appeared on screen. Now imagine the hype and anticipation that built up when Cartoon Network's social media site dropped this out of the blue. If you can guess the gem, you can guess who you are going to meet tomorrow night on a brand new Steven Universe. Oh my stars, a new gem? And one with a really cool and edgy name too? Oh boy, this is going to be good! Immediately after the post went online, people came up with theories about who this new character could be and what role they would play in the show. A day after that, the time had come. The episode aired, and we finally got to meet Bloodstone.
Or like a million tiny gems, like one crushed up gem coursing through my blood, like Bloodstone!
Perfect! That's your crystal gem name.
Yeah, that's right. Not only was there no new gem, the episode just had to focus on frickin' Ronaldo of all people. The guy literally had to ruin the concept of gemstones for everyone, didn't he? If you don't know, gemstones are basically OC gems that fans made up and love to create. Comparable to Spider Sonas for Spider-Man fans, or for Sonas for furries. I remember the backlash this revelation caused when the episode aired. I recall reading some comments that were basically like, who on the marketing team thought this was a good idea? Well, I guess we were just mad because we had been bamboozled big time. To be fair, there were some people who were suspicious about the whole Bloodstone thing before the episode aired. Some even bringing forward the theory that this was just going to be Ronaldo's gemstone. Introducing a new gem just wouldn't really make sense during the current arc at the moment. However, the thing is, the fans wanted it to be true. We wanted to see a new gem. This could have been great. In the end, at least the characters in the show share the fandom's distaste for Ronaldo.
No, you are not living here. And you certainly can't join the Crystal Gems.
And it was cool to have the concept of gemstones being acknowledged by the crew. Looking back at it, it was actually quite a funny prank by Cartoon Network. And we would eventually see many new gems in future episodes. Also, if I recall correctly, Ronaldo didn't have any major appearances after Rocknaldo. So, it all worked out in the end. The show was notorious for long hiatuses. Hiati? Wait, let me look it up. Hiatus, plural. Hiatus, okay. Between episodes. If you were in the Steven Universe fandom back in the day, and you see people complaining about long stretches of time between new episodes of cartoons nowadays, well, you haven't seen anything yet. Release schedules often looked like this. Many months of nothing, complete silence. Just for 5 episodes to suddenly drop all at once out of the blue. Followed by yet another hiatus of uncertain length. Kind of like how I study for tests in school. Do nothing until the day before the exam, memorize everything all at once, just to completely forget the information immediately after. Now, while researching the topic, I came across this website that meticulously documented every hiatus the show ever had during its run, including the so-called days in the dark, how long we had to wait without any new info of when the show would continue, as well as how long we had to wait for new episodes after they had been announced. These numbers were then added up to show the full length of every hiatus. As you can see, the longest hiatus was between the finale of Season 5 and the movie, spanning a total of 223 days. Now this is understandable as Change Your Mind was the finale of Classic SU, and Steven Universe Future is considered its own separate show. The second longest hiatus was from May till November 2017, spanning 164 days, followed by another hiatus that went on for 155 days. This might not sound too bad for some people, and I was surprised to learn that no hiatus ever crossed the 1-year line. It sure felt like it back in the day. But then I remembered that some episodes would unfortunately leak sometimes months ahead of their planned release date. And what can I say? I am a weak demon. But this also meant that folks who would watch these prematurely leaked episodes would experience even longer periods of time without new content. Anyways, this website was a really helpful source of information, and hey, if you scroll up, you can even see how long it has been since the show has ended. Where was I? Oh right. So like I said, following a long hiatus, sometimes a bunch of new episodes would air in a very short span of time. Usually one every evening of the week. And the Crewniverse was very well aware of that joke.
I can't wait for the next episode. Whenever that is, am I right?
Anyways, this cluster of new content was dubbed Steven Bomb, named after this scene from one of my favorite Season 1 episodes, Garnet's Universe.
You know I can sense you.
Steven Bomb! Whoa!
According to the Steven Universe wiki, there were 7 Steven Bombs in total, and all except the first and fourth one consisted of 5 episodes, usually one every night during a work week. Aside from containing a week's worth of new content, the Steven Bombs would always be highly anticipated by us fans. To quote the wiki, Steven bombs tend to act as a countdown to an apocalyptic scenario that is to occur in the future. The episodes were very plot heavy and would almost always feature at least one new fusion, new songs, as well as new characters. The crew would also release promo art before the airing of every Steven bomb, building up hype even more. Another event that arguably was even more impactful than some Steven bombs was the Summer of Steven. This event started on July 18th and lasted until August 12th of 2016. During this time, new episodes would air every workday night. The Summer of Steven would wrap up season 3 of the show, and even show 2 episodes of the following season 4. And let me tell you, there were some absolute bangers among these. Monster Reunion, Alone at Sea, Greg the Babysitter, the 2-part season 3 finale, Bubbled, Bismuth, marking the show's 100th episode, Gem Hunt, as well as Mr. Greg. Let me tell you, this was my Roman Empire. Also, I would like to add that I just adore the promo art for the event. It shows Steven wearing outfits that would all make an appearance during the Summer of Steven. Look at this little guy's drip! Unfortunately, I wasn't able to find out who illustrated this promo art. If any of you guys know, please let me know in the comments down below. Like I mentioned before, the show was notorious for its many leaks. Funnily enough, these came not only from insiders, but primarily from Cartoon Network screwing things up. To quote tvtropes.org, due to an issue with Cartoon Network's website that lasted for a large chunk of the show's run, it was standard for at least screenshots of the first few minutes of many episodes to leak a few hours before airing. And although the website states that stuff usually leaked a few hours before premieres, it happened closer to a few days or even weeks before new episodes came out, if I recall correctly. This issue pretty much started up immediately after the show first aired, where Cartoon Network not only accidentally displayed the titles of every season 1 episode in advance, but also included descriptions of every single one, pretty much spoiling a lot of the story almost a year in advance. But this was only the beginning. Now it's time to go over the most memorable instances of the exact same thing happening over and over again. Similar to the aforementioned leak on the CN website, history tends to repeat itself. Now, season 2 was airing during that time, and if you just couldn't wait to find out what would happen next in the show, don't worry, Cartoon Network's got your back. Not only did they accidentally leak the titles of every season 2 episode that was yet to air, but also the majority of season 3 titles, and even a few episode names of season 4. At least no plot descriptions were included this time around. Yikes. Personally, I had a lot of fun trying to figure out the story of the upcoming episode while only knowing its title. Anyone remember Hit the Diamond? Okay, let me go on a quick little tangent here, just let me have this. Hit the Diamond, together with a previous episode Barnmates, is my favorite episode of Steven Universe. Now during this time, we had just been introduced to Yellow Diamond, and after Peridot basically called her an ugly shit right to her face, the fandom was pretty much convinced that she would come down to Earth personally just to kick Perry's butt. This, and also the fact that the crystal gems had successfully prevented the cluster from forming, was enough for us to think that Yellow would board the next spaceship and settle the score on Earth herself. And now imagine how much more sense this theory makes when an upcoming episode has a name such as Hit the Diamond. The word diamond is in the name, for crying out loud! Eventually, after much anticipation, the episode finally aired, and it turned out to be about baseball? Get it? Hit the diamond? However, as far as I remember, no one was upset by the revelation. Maybe because the episode was actually pretty freaking good? Maybe because it featured Lapis interacting and even bonding with the other crystal gems? Maybe because we were blessed with more Ruby X Sapphire content? They're just the cutest. Maybe because of the introduction of a Ruby squad? Or maybe because this episode has some of the funniest moments in the whole show. Who knows? Anyways, there was another big leak that happened around the time this particular arc was airing, and it involved none other than the French. For some strange reason, the The 2 episodes Barnmates and Hit the Diamond aired ahead of their actual US premiere on French television, of all places. And there was even an English audio option available. That's why most of the early clips and screenshots floating around from these episodes had the French CN logo in the bottom right corner. But that's still not all. There was yet another leak that featured scenes from this arc. This time, it came from Cartoon Network UK. Now you see, during that time in early 2016, Lapis and Jasper were still at the bottom of the ocean, fused into malachite. So imagine what happened within the fandom when the absolute bombshell was dropped in the form of a clip showing Peridot giving a present to none other than the water witch Lapis Lazuli herself. This meant that malachite would soon unfuse in a future episode. Oh boy. Another clip from the same episode also showed the arrival of the mysterious spaceship that would later be revealed to be piloted by the Ruby Squad. And to top it all off, Cartoon Network UK also leaked the entire Malachite vs. Alexandrite battle as a little treat. Otherwise, we would have had to wait another 3 months to see this confrontation. Good to know that Europe got the fandom's back. Now, releasing clips unintentionally ahead of time and spoiling major story events is bad enough. But what if I told you that this one time, an entire 5-episode story arc was leaked all at once? You guys probably think that this was the work of some hacker mastermind who found the episodes on a server at the studio, or a disgruntled CN employee who was out for revenge. Nope, it was just Cartoon Network having yet another oopsie again. The Steven Baum dubbed Out of This World was scheduled to air from January 30th to February 2nd of 2017. But thanks to the episodes accidentally being uploaded on streaming services early, we already got to enjoy the whole Human Zoo arc right around New Year. I actually remember how me and my sister saw a clip of Yellow Diamond singing the song What's the Use of Feeling Blue on our YouTube recommendations page and thinking, oh wow, a new song leaked! Only to fall down a rabbit hole of more and more clips and spoilers. It then slowly dawned on us that not just some footage was released early, but a bunch of new episodes had leaked all at once.
Doesn't sound like a wise thing to do, Holly Blue.
Crazy times, let me tell you. More fatal spoilers happened when, leading up to the season 5 episode, Lex from Here to Homeworld, a documentary podcast about the show, was released. Now this would have been fine and all, if the documentary had not contained spoiler-heavy clips from the episode, ruining much of the surprise the show had planned for us fans. And if this wasn't bad enough, the podcast also featured clips from upcoming episodes that would come out even later than Legs from Here to Homeworld. This event was such a dumpster fire that the video was quickly taken down and was then re-uploaded with the spoilery scenes removed. However, the damage had been done. At that point, the leaks were everywhere. Following the screw-up, many Crewniverse members made statements on Twitter, voicing their disappointment with the situation. Among them was Ian Jones-Quartey, who had this to say. The SU crew works hard to create a fun and surprising story. We absolutely did not clear spoiler clips to be used. This video was made by some careless jerk who doesn't even work in our time zone. Understandably, he seemed to be quite upset with the carelessness the show was presumably treated with by the network. And while this tweet and many others from this time have been deleted, the memories of the drama the situation caused still remain. On a lighter note, some of the funniest leaks definitely were the ones where some kid would film their TV screen with their phone and upload the clip. This happened a few times. Now why were these children the only ones with access to this footage? I don't know. But I still think it is hilarious that these kids accomplished what no one else was able to do. There were also a few leaks containing audio from unreleased episodes that happened during the run of the show, varying in quality. The most notable one for me would be this clip from Steven Universe Future, which was overlaid by a lovely hip-hop beat that almost completely drowned out the actual voices you were trying to make out in the first place. The audio file was called, and you just can't make this stuff up, the Jajas Are Right Again .mp3. Lastly, some of the voice cast would also leak stuff accidentally from time to time, like how the existence of White Diamond was confirmed by Patty LuPone, aka Yellow Diamond, during a non-SU related performance, But don't worry, White's actual voice actress Christine Ebersole would also talk about her involvement in the show at a similar event. Almost a whole year before the character would even be mentioned in the show. Ever since her debut, fans were always hoping that Lapis would one day get her own song. Her voice actress, Jennifer Paz, can sing after all. These prayers were ultimately answered when the character's Portuguese voice actress posted a clip from the at the time unreleased episode Can't Go Back, which showed Lapis singing the song That Distant Shore in her Instagram story. Allegedly, the clip was supposed to be private. Now, following her mistake, she not only deleted the story, but all of the posts on her page. Following the ordeal, it was announced that she had been fired from the Portuguese cast of the show and replaced by Teresa Queiroz, I hope I said that right, who, funnily enough, also voices Peridot as well as other minor characters in the show. Okay, but following that logic, Cartoon Network would have to fire themselves. I mean, considering how much they were leaking at that time. With leaks happening all the time during the show's run, of course Steven Universe also had its fair share of fake ones over time. Some of them managed to fool a good bunch of people, while others, let's just say, were not as convincing. There were many fake screenshots depicting the diamonds floating around back then, such as this one, and most famously of all, the pink diamond leak. I remember this picture being discussed a lot back then. It was everywhere, before ultimately being debunked after we finally got to see Pink in the actual show. There were also many fake leaks of a supposed Lapidot fusion, probably because this was also something the fandom really wanted to see, including myself, to be honest. There was also this totally rad leak showing Jasper destabilizing Lapis. Oh, could you imagine the peril, the angst, the trauma? We just ate this stuff up. Looking back at these, fake leaks were really entertaining, and although most of the time being too good to be true, these images still sparked a lot of discussion amongst the community and reflected what the fandom wanted to see back then. And maybe, just for a moment, the wildest stuff was made true thanks to these images. There is no feeling that compares to when you believed in a theory, thought a show you enjoy was hinting at something bigger, and connected every teeny tiny dot hidden on screen to then be proven right. The ultimate payoff for having dedication. Arguably, the most impactful reveal in Steven Universe happened during the Season 1 finale. In the episode Jailbreak, it was revealed that Garnet is a fusion made up of the two gems Ruby and Sapphire. Their romantic relationship was what ultimately formed Garnet, and this was a huge deal back in early 2015 when the episode aired. You see, thanks in huge part to the LGBTQIA+ representation from this episode, and similar future instances in the show, seeing queer stuff in animation became a lot more normalized after that, because sadly, things were quite different back then. The most we had gotten up to that point was Kurosami holding hands at the end of the Legend of Korra finale the year prior. Now imagine how big of a deal it was when we learned that Garnet was basically just two lesbians in a trench coat. This was also hinted at in various episodes prior. For example, in Fusion Cuisine, we saw Ruby and Sapphire's silhouette for a few frames when Alexandrite unfused. Or how Garnet's instrument of choice is a keytar, a literal fusion of a keyboard and guitar. Also, she has two gemstones. All these little nods to Garnet being more than she seemed would ultimately pay off in the last episodes of Season 1. And that's not all. The finale was just packed full of crazy stuff. We got Peridot crash landing on Earth, Garnet versus Jasper, Stronger Than You. Okay, ship, turn us around. Freaking Malachite. It was so good. Now this is how you make a season finale. The only episode that came close to the cultural impact Jailbreak had was the original finale of the show, Change Your Mind, which aired on January 21st, 2019. This episode had it all. Yellow, blue, and Steven confronting White Diamond, new outfits for every crystal gem, a ton of new fusions, all in the span of like 5 minutes. Obsidian? And oh my gosh, the whole scene where Steven's gem is removed, the crazy smooth animation by James Baxter. And to top it all off, we even got to see all the corrupted gems being healed in the end. Oh, what's that? That's still not everything somehow? That's right, we even got to see a teaser for the upcoming Steven Universe movie at the end of a special. The fans were eating good that night. Luckily, I was able to avoid the spoilers that happened before the finale aired, which made the episode have an even bigger impact, and every new revelation came as a surprise to me. The 44-minute special was well received by fans, and especially the new designs for the crystal gems, as well as the new fusions received a lot of love from the community. There was just so much cool stuff in this episode. It seemed like you couldn't draw enough fan art to do this finale justice. The only thing that left me feeling unfulfilled was the somewhat rushed ending of the episode. Basically, every conflict was resolved within one song. For example, the whole corrupted gem thing was glossed over in my opinion, without the diamonds really being held accountable for their actions. They were the ones that ultimately caused all this hurt in the first place. But I guess that was excusable for the moment, as all of this stuff surely would be addressed in the movie, as well as Steven Universe's future. And I guess it kind of was. However, I just wish there would have been more time dedicated to exploring the whole war crime aftermath a bit more. Just like dedicated episodes focusing on formerly corrupted gems, such as Nephrite for example, and how she deals with all that trauma. I guess I just wanted to see more of her, since I really like Nephrite as a character. Oh well, I guess these pacing issues can be chalked up to the series being cut short by Cartoon Network following the Rufire wedding. The Crewniverse has actually talked about the situation quite a bit in the last couple of years. Feel free to look it up if you want to know more about what went down. This is way too big of a topic to cover in this video. Maybe someday I'll be able to talk about the history of queer animation in a different video. I'd love to make that type of content, to be honest. I already briefly talked about how good it feels when a theory you have about a piece of media is ultimately proven to be true. Aside from Garnet being a fusion, the other big one that comes to mind is the whole Rose is actually Pink Diamond conspiracy. After being first mentioned, and especially after we finally got to actually see Pink in the show, fans came up with a theory that the leader of a rebellion against Homeworld could be none other than one of the Diamonds themselves. And after the episode A Single Pale Rose premiered on May 7th, 2018, the effort and years-long speculation was ultimately paid off. In it, it is confirmed that Rose was in fact Pink Diamond, and she had faked her shattering with the help of Pearl. This sure was a huge deal for the fandom, and many celebrated the fact that they were right. A few days after the episode aired, Cartoon Network released an interview with series creator Rebecca Sugar, in which she spoke about the reveal. She described specific instances where past dialogue in the show can be viewed in a new context following A Single Pale Rose.
I did see people pull a lot of the pieces together.
So, what are the implications of this reveal for future episodes?
Everyone is going to have to reevaluate everything that they believe in.
You see, there were many little nods and hints towards Rose being Pink Diamond, and personally, I just love rewatching scenes from older episodes and viewing them in a whole new light. This is especially the case for Pearl-centric episodes, especially her dialogue in the Season 1 episodes, Rose's Scabbard, as well as Space Race. In the former, she lashes out at the other crystal gems and claims that no one knew Rose like she did. Which makes so much more sense if you know that Pearl used to be Pink Diamond's servant and the only one who knew her secret. She also misses Homeworld and the adventures her and her diamond would go on. Also, Pearl hating shapeshifting can be traced back directly to her being traumatized by her involvement in the whole shattering plan. Other hints towards the Rose's Pink theory include how Steven is actually pretty OP when compared to other gems. With every new ability he unlocked throughout the show, it became less and less likely that he was just a regular old gem. Also, there was this one revelation during Steven's trial that diamonds can't be shattered by a sword. Basically, the whole scenario surrounding Pink's shattering was sus, and didn't really make any sense. There were many more instances hinting towards some bigger mysteries around what happened on Earth so many thousands of years ago. Reddit user Lady Raveneye compiled an incredible thorough list going over many more instances of hints being dropped in the show. Make sure to show them some love. I will link the thread in the description down below. And there was even an official compilation of clues uploaded by Cartoon Network after the theory was proven to be true. It was just such an exciting time in the fandom after the reveal, and being proven correct felt like we had earned the ultimate reward. We also couldn't wait and wonder what would come next after Steven learned the truth. How would the other characters react? All I can say is that this reveal made us rethink and re-evaluate everything we knew about the show.
Bingo bongo.
There was this fun thing that Fandom came up with whenever a new Steven bomb or a bunch of new episodes would premiere. The Steven Universe Bingo. These sheets were made up of stuff that fans wished/predicted would happen in upcoming episodes. Some prompts were very likely to come true, while others were more outlandish. Whenever one of these things happened during the bombs, you would tick off a corresponding box. The goal, of course, was to get a bingo at the end of the premiere. I remember these being extremely popular during the show's run. And in the end, there were even some official Steven Universe bingo cards made by Cartoon Network. Now I'm pretty sure SU didn't come up with the concept. However, I still wanted to include it as it was my personal introduction to the whole bingo thing within fandoms. And also, because it was just such a big thing during the show's airing. Nowadays, these bingo cards are still quite popular within many fandoms. And whenever I stumble across one of these, I love reading the prompts everybody comes up with. And hey, maybe I'll get a bingo this time! One of the more hilarious things that made the fandom go bonkers was the reveal of the Steven Universe movie. Or in that case specifically, its poster. You see, the film is set about 2 years after season 5, which means Steven is 16 years old during the events of the movie. In order to convey the passage of time, the crew decided to age up Steven's character design. In addition to making him taller, making his voice deeper, Zach Allison probably breathed a huge sigh of relief after not having to do his kid voice anymore, and giving him this cool college jacket directly inspired by Steven's voice actor's drip, they also gave him a visible neck. Now people lost their ish. In a good way. It was quite the meme within the fandom that little Stubal over here was, well, necklace. Especially following this exchange from the episode Steven's birthday.
Dude, your neck!
Oh, what about it?
You have one!
And now we finally had one permanently! Fans loved the redesign, and aside from the poster being an absolute banger, it also birthed one of the funniest memes within the show's history. I mean, you thought Yellow's neck was long? You haven't seen anything yet! And Cartoon Network even made a dedicated video about the topic.
Steven has a neck.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
What? This is just to give you guys an idea on how big of a deal this was back in the day. Lastly, I would like to talk about some of the most memorable creators within the SU fandom. And you just can't bring up the concept of Steven Universe memes without talking about MK Atwood. Their edits were everywhere back in the day. The impact she had on the fandom is unmatched, as her videos would even feature the voice cast on multiple occasions. MK Atwood gained popularity within the SU bubble starting in 2015, and her videos quickly accumulated a large amount of views, thanks to her incredible editing skills. Like, this stuff is seamless, and I bet it took forever to make these videos. MK Atwood is probably best known for their series, Pearl's Secret Rap Career, in which Steven and the other characters discover Pearl's secret passion for hip-hop. You see, her voice actress, Dee Dee Magno Hall, was in a band in the 90s called The Party, and the one song that gained popularity within the Steven Universe fandom was called LA. In it, Dee Dee lays down some sick bars, of which the lyrics are probably ingrained deep into the minds of every SU fan.
Called The Party. And that show stemmed a singing pop group called The Party. And we recorded 4 albums in the 90s. It was a pop group, so it came at sort of a weird time when the music was changing from pop to grunge. The audience wasn't ready for it. But anyway, we came back, and this was maybe
The party isn't over,
the
guys!
Party ain't
the
over.
party ain't over!
So we recently, in the last 3 years or so, came back and recorded about 12 to 14 songs. I'm trying to think if I can't remember how many. We recorded a lot. And LA happens to be one of the songs from that current album. And my goodness, we had no idea that this was going to take off. So I'm thrilled to share this music that we did. Of course, you know, we're much older now. And you know, maybe it sounds a little bit like we're reminiscing of the past, of the 90s is when we existed. But nonetheless, it was music that we all collaborated on. And I actually worked with a gentleman. Oh my gosh, I should have done. I was gonna. I have to think. Oh, his name is Vision. Well, I don't know that that's his real name, but anyway, he goes by Vision. And he is the gentleman who really is behind this rap song. I wrote the lyrics to my part of the rap. I do it. It's a duet rap with a gentleman named Damon Pampolina, who's also in the group, and then Chasen and Albert do the backup vocals. But Vision took my lyrics and sort of made it into a rap. So this is me trying to rap. And, you know, oh, you're very kind. You're very kind. Pearl Point. Pearl Point.
MK Atwood came across the song sometime in 2015, and the rest is history. Eventually, these edits reached such a popularity that the voice actors were made aware of her series and would eventually even feature in Mackenzie's videos. But it doesn't end there. In 2017, she announced that she would be hosting an official Steven Universe podcast, and thus, MK Atwood went from making YouTube edits to working at Cartoon Network and being directly involved with the show she loved so much. Living the dream! One of my personal favorite moments from that time was when they got to host the Steven Universe meme panel featuring Zach Callison and Dee Dee Magno Hall at MomoCon in 2017. On that day, we were blessed with Birdmom learning about the wonderful world of memes.
You discovered a fresh dank meme. You want to...
What?
You need to track down
Those
the
are terms to
source.
describe good memes.
Yes.
Stank?
Dank.
Dank.
Oh. It was like, stank.
Just go with it. Just go with it. Just fresh dank. Just go with it.
Dank.
Dank. There you go.
Concept.
This is a real DM I got from Dee Dee one time when she spotted a meme, and she was really excited. So I thought that might be relevant.
Now my personal favorite MK Atwood video has to be You Re-Pearlsed It in the Wrong Neighborhood. I still know all the words by heart. Oh, and also a special shout out to Pearl being salty for 3.5 minutes, where she bought a ton of salt just to bring the point across that yes, Pearl in fact is the best character. Nowadays, Mackenzie Atwood still works in the industry. According to their Twitter, they are currently employed by Titmouse, and also have done voiceover work for a few projects. From what I listen to, it sounds really professional, and I like her voice a lot. I really wish her the best. The next creator that influenced me a lot is none other than Koza Banana. If that name doesn't ring any bells, you might be familiar with some of their videos. This channel was best known for making incredible artistic nightcore versions of popular SU songs. Now it goes without saying that this person's ability to create truly beautiful pieces of art is a talent mere mortals could only wish to achieve someday. These videos live rent-free in my head. The Pearl walking animation just kills me every time.
I was fine when you came, and we fought like it was all some silly game.
And that fake leak mock-up of rose-shattering Pink Diamond is just hilarious to me. It even has the CN logo in the corner. Oh my gosh, there's just so much cool stuff on this channel. What a trip down memory lane. I actually had this realization after rewatching Koza Banana's stuff, that I've been quoting specific lines from their videos for years now, without even remembering where they came from. But after rewatching these videos, I feel enlightened. The link has been re-established. I learned a lot about myself on that day. This is probably the closest I'll ever get to finding the meaning of life. And it's all thanks to a shit-posting Nightcore channel that used to make Steven Universe videos. Sadly, it seems like the channel was hacked sometime around 2022, and their username was changed to some crypto bro dish. However, the videos still remain uploaded, and I strongly suggest you give them a watch in order to have an authentic experience of how it was to be a fan of the show during its peak. The links will be in the description. Lastly, I want to talk about a more niche content creator that had me in a chokehold back then. They go by the name Stetsuninu. Stetsuninu, and were known for making Steven Universe YouTube poops back in the day. While never reaching the popularity of the previously discussed YouTube channels, I still remember laughing at their videos when I first watched them. Actually, you know what? I still find them funny. I don't care how cringe I may sound. I guess I just have a soft spot for YouTube poops and the type of humor they usually consist of. In these videos, our favorite character Stitz goes on various adventures, and also he's allowed to swear.
You okay, dude?
I have to depart.
The outcomes are usually hilarious. My favorite moment has to be this one.
Hey, Lapis, are you okay?
Yeah,
Are you sure?
yeah.
You know what to do with this.
If you share my immature sense of humor, or should I say, have good taste, once again, the link to their channel will be in the description down below. That's all for this video. It has been quite the way down memory lane for me, and I hope I was able to evoke some of the same emotions I had while revisiting the fandom within you guys. Or at least made you go, oh yeah, that was a thing, I remember that. Whatever the case, I still hope you enjoyed this little homage to the show that played a huge role in making me into the person that I am today. I mean, I'm pretty sure this scene made me turn gay.
Is this allowed?
For a huge chunk of my formative years, the show has been a part of my life. And even today, I still find myself coming back to it again and again. I mean, you can always identify a SU fan by the way they draw certain features. This is a canon event. Why yes, I'm a fan of Steven Universe. How did you know? Furthermore, the series also influenced the way I write/portray characters, as well as their relationships. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that has a hyperfixation on the show. I'm curious, what does Steven Universe mean to you? What were the moments within the fandom that stuck out to you? Did I miss anything important, or did I get anything wrong? Let me know in the comments down below.
That was very poorly edited.
Like I said, of course the show wasn't perfect, and not every person within the fandom was a saint. But I believe Steven Universe can still be considered a damn good show that did more good than bad. It meant a lot to so many people, and it still does, including myself. And that, at least, is pretty damn awesome. Like always, please like and subscribe for more videos on all stuff animation, as well as some other topics that interest me. It would mean the world to me. Or should I say, the universe. Okay, bye!
What do you ever see here that doesn't make you feel worse than you do? And tell me, what's the use of feeling blue?